Southside Chicago neighborhood, though he did survive. In his editorial, Professor Hill goes on to say, quote, "Our city is under siege. It is bleeding to death by thousands of tiny scratches. In this age of nihilism, the American dream is being executed day by day by the genocidal warfare against black and brown bodies by other black and brown bodies." He ends by saying all lives matter and that the president is in a position to save them. Martha.
Trace, thank you very much. Here now, Jason Hill, professor of philosophy at DePaul University in Chicago and the author of the upcoming book, We Have Overcome, An Immigrant's Letter to the American People. Professor Hill, great to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much. I know this is an issue that is so near and dear to your heart, and you really want the president to send in the feds. How would that work?
Well, I think that Posse Comitatus has been suspended several times, or it can be suspended. I think that the president could send in the National Guard. I think that the Navy or the Marines could be sent in. I think in 1957, President Eisenhower sent in the National Guard to protect school integration. In 1992, President George G.W. Bush did it to protect the city of Los Angeles on the heels of the verdict of the Rodney King riot. And in 2006, I think President George Bush did it to send troops to the Mexican border. So I think the president has several options at his disposal that he could work very closely with local government here in Chicago.
What about Rahm Emanuel? The mayor is up for re-election in the fall. Gary McCarthy, who used to be the chief of police there, is running against him. And I know that the police have been protesting against the current mayor. Is he part of the problem or part of the solution?
I think he's part of the problem. I think we are under the mayoral governance of an impotent mayor who's doing absolutely nothing, who's complacent. And I think that sort of complacency is symptomatic of what is going on. I think that we have police who are unable to systemically and systematically fight this kind of gang warfare. This is unspeakable that in a city we have so many killings and where gangs are ruling turfs. It is uncivilized. It is unspeakable that not just in Chicago, in Baltimore, in St. Louis, in Detroit.
Professor, I'm almost out of time, but I got to ask you, when you look at, the NFL issue and kneeling and, police brutality concerns and all of that, are you trying to wake up people to what perhaps is a more pressing issue for African Americans in this country?
Well, there's a systematic absence of law and order that's running amok in this country, a kind of thuggish ferality that's running amok in this country. And the rule of the law has got to take form. And Americans have got to wake up and realize that a respect for the rule of the law has to be foremost and in the defense of our great republic. This is the greatest nation on the face of the earth. I'm a great patriot and defender of this country. And we need to start having a conversation that I think the far left is not willing to have. And I think that the rule of law and law and order has got to take precedence.
Well, Professor, I commend you on this editorial, and I hope you'll come back and talk to us more.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So coming up next, it was the royal event of the year. Harry married Meghan. You saw it last weekend. 29 million people watched it at Windsor. But it was an American bishop who actually stole the spotlight. Bishop Michael Curry joins me next on why he is now turning his focus toward the White House. Plus, the Saudis made global headlines saying women would soon be allowed to drive. So why have women